one of the things we've done as a society that is an error is that we've almost set everything up in our lives to avoid pain, right? To avoid pain. And pain is one of fear's agents. I mean, we're talking about the counterpoint to bravery. Pain is one of fear's agents. And I think it's a mistake. And I think even the lessons of our basic bodies can teach us something in that, it's designed to absorb pain and actually respond to it. So, I mean, if I want to make this muscle bigger, all I got to do is pick stuff up repetitively that's heavy. I'll damage that muscle, and then all these cells will attack it. They'll fix it. It gets stronger and better. I do that again and multiple times. I build myself into a stronger being, right? There's a lesson there that I think physical pain has the ability to kind of transform not only the physical, but I do think it connects to the spiritual. And I think this pain avoidance is a mistake. And so I'm going to share the best pain story I've ever witnessed, and I'm going to get emotional doing it. My bride is with us today. You want to meet the class in the Denver Act, you go ahead and introduce yourself to my bride today. She's cringing right now, not because I'm about to tell this story, but she knows I cannot talk about that which I care about most without getting emotional, but I think it's still worth it. I can't ask you to face fears if I'm not facing my own, so here we go. But when my bride got pregnant with our first, the day it happened, she tells me, it's very important to me that I do this naturally, that I do this without medicine, without a doctor. I want to do this right. Everything I'm reading says it's great for our kiddos. I want that to be our experience. And I knew she was serious. I mean, when she says something, it's as good as notarized. And I remember being a little nervous about it, but sure enough, on the day of battle, she goes into labor in the morning. Unbeknownst to us at the time, our firstborn is what's called sunny side up, okay? And never turned. So it stayed that way the whole day. So when contractions started, she experienced that wonderful pain. And then when they stopped and abated, she went into what they call back labor, which as best I could tell was worse than the contractions. It was like nothing I've ever seen. I mean, this day was nothing I've ever seen. And I feel like I've got a genuine premium on understanding pain. And she struggled through this for about 18 hours. 18 hours. And we get to this birthing center. We had a midwife by the name of June. She delivered, I think, somewhere north of 3,000 babies. An absolute pro. And I remember at about 19 hours and 15 minutes, June walks into this room where I'm just there trying to help in any way I can, which was virtually useless. But I remember I'm sitting there and June comes in and she looks at my bride and says, "You have done more to make this work than almost anyone I've ever seen. I've been doing this a long time. But we have a protocol, and at 20 hours, you're not allowed to stay here. We have to move you on. That means you're getting in an ambulance and you're going to a hospital." And we knew what that meant. Instantly, we knew that was going to be emergency C-section. It'd be the absolute opposite of what we hoped to experience. And we knew it'd be a blessing if we saw it through, but it was a tough moment. And I will never forget my bride's face. I mean, it was otherworldly. It was disappointment. It was fear. She was almost looking at me like she'd failed, which was horrible. But I remember no sooner does she has this look on her face, she turns to the midwife and says, "Is there anything more I can do? Is there anything left undone that can help us get to where I want to be?" Unbelievable. June smiles and says, I wouldn't suggest this for that many people. But at this point, you need to change something. So whatever body position you've been in to kind of avoid pain or to kind of reduce your pain, which of course you're going to do on an elemental level, you need to go the other direction. You need to lean into the pain, find the most uncomfortable position you can get into, and let's see what happens. I don't think a second passes. My bride takes a big breath. She rolls over, she turns a position, she moves her legs in a different position. If she was at a 10 of 10 pain-wise at that point for 18 hours, she shot immediately to a 19 out of 10. I am positive. The sounds and the experience at that point were otherworldly. But 30 seconds after she leans into pain, her water breaks. About 20 minutes after that, we're in absolute full-blown, a kid's coming, and 35 minutes later, we introduce our first child into the world. I mean, yeah. No, I married way up. I'm in charge of two things in my household, security and maintenance. She's in charge of everything else. But there's a lesson in this. There's a lesson in this that I think is so important when it comes to bravery and this idea of being a brave leader. And it's the idea to not avoid pain. Lean into the pain. Recognize that pain is a growth opportunity. Lean into it, and that is where bravery lies. You're going to find it there.